All right, all right. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Crypto Live with Bitcoin Bravado. I am here today with Bitcoin Birch, Kyle, and our special guest, Paisano Don Italiano.
Paisano. How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Full docs.
That's it.
It's official. Full docs.
Welcome, brother.
Appreciate you guys having me here.
Don joined the Bravado team in January. He came up. He was introduced to us by Kyle, formerly lovingly known as the intern, evolved obviously into much more than that. And Don came in and said, listen, I'm learning how to trade. I've been messing around for a little bit with crypto, and I want to be a part of this journey. And he spent literally every single day of the last 9, 10, 11 months coming into the office and staring at charts. Nobody in this group has looked at more charts, watched more YouTube videos, learned more about trading in a fast amount of time than Don. So I'm excited to hear some of your thoughts on this. I've enjoyed working with you, buddy, and I'm glad that you're here on the show. Big shout out.
It's a verified
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you for that introduction, Birch. Yeah, so I started trading about 2 years ago, traditional equities, and I bought my first Bitcoin April of last year. And really didn't start trading it till about November, December. Me and Kyle have been longtime friends of friends. Introduced me to Birch, and Birch showed me what Bitcoin Bravado was and what they're aiming to do. I actually quit my job and went full force, and have been trading it ever since.
I told him not to do it.
He did tell me not to do it, but I still today. It was the best decision I've ever made, man. I love what I'm doing, and continuing to learn every day from individuals like these that are super intelligent. So I'm surrounded by some great people. I'm learning every day, and just trying to make this community, this space, as best as possible.
Hell yeah, man.
Well said, man. Well said.
I remember, Don, I know that things tapered off for a second. Not everyone can have the hot hand for months on end, but you went on that MEX run for a second. What were you making, like half a Bitcoin a day for like 3 weeks or some shit? That was insane.
I did go on a little MEX degen run. I was hitting some big trades for a little while, but that doesn't last so long. So
yeah.
There are some losers too, but there's definitely some learning lessons throughout those trades and whatnot. But that's what trading is. You just got to learn from your mistakes and build upon it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we are definitely happy to have you here, man. Thanks for and we're excited about today. Today's going to be a lot of fun. This is actually our first community-driven podcast. You can look at it like that, live stream, however you want to put it. We're going to be reviewing and doing a deep dive and discussing 3 specific projects. And we've spent some time doing our homework to talk about these. And we know that there's some people on the live stream that are going to be there to probably bounce some additional questions off. Those of you who are community members of these projects that we're going to be covering, just know that you are welcome to throw us your comments. Let us know your thoughts as we're discussing these projects that we know you were probably holding near and dear to your heart and in big portions of your portfolio. So the 3 that we're going to cover today, we have got Block Party, Unibright, and Turtlecoin, and we're going to cover them in that order. So guys, I mean, if you're ready to get this party started, I think we can go ahead and kick things off with Block Party.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you, community members who hopped on the Twitter thread and threw your votes out there. It was either really creative use of bots, or there's a lot of you out there who are really excited about these 3 projects in particular. I don't actually love calling everything in crypto a project. In my honest opinion, 2 out of these 3 are a lot more than that. They're actually full-fledged companies, and I was excited to learn a little bit more about them. Also, full disclosure, we're not paid to review any of these projects and have had limited to no contact with any of the people on their team, though I have been fortunate in recent days to reach out to a couple of members to get some more information as a part of me doing research, and I recommend you guys do the same. So let's jump right in. Let's start with Block Party. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, my background is in startup investing. Most of the last 7-8 years of my life, I've been pretty obsessed with startups. So I have a slightly different approach, I think, than some people when I look to evaluate companies. I evaluate them under the fine microscope that I would traditionally evaluate any startup trying to raise a series round or seed round or an angel round or have any type of speculative investment as a part of their process. So Block Party, at first, Block Party at first wasn't something that I was super excited to look at because it struck me at first as just another DApp. I've since changed my opinion, so we'll kind of get into it. But first, the coin economics. For all of you guys on the podcast or live stream and don't know, Block Party's ticker symbol is BOXX. They're currently $4 million market cap, give or take a few bucks, with about $500,000 in volume. So they actually have a lot of volume relative to market cap. We'll talk about the TA portion of the coins before we're done. They have a 90 million token total supply, and they're currently traded on Bittrex or Upbit. So my first looking into it, quick hot take from the three of you. Ticketing, Ticketmaster, StubHub, on the blockchain. What are your initial thoughts? And I know before I get destroyed in the comments, I know it's more complex than that. We'll get into it. Trust me. What are your initial thoughts on solving this problem or building a solution in this space using blockchain technology?
Well, I think that blockchain technology could really revolutionize this industry because, like you mentioned, there's StubHub and Ticketmaster and things like that. What I'm hoping from face value this company is able to do is mitigate costs on the third-party involvement. What I'm hoping is that, these festival hosts and different events are able to actually get their tickets out to a wide amount of people and use the blockchain to securely transfer the identity of each ticket holder and make everything verifiable so that when these events go on, you don't have to pay the extreme third-party hosting costs for actual exchange of tickets because beforehand, you use StubHub and you use Ticketmaster to make sure that the actual transmission of the ticket takes place. What I'm hoping that the blockchain does here and what Block Party is utilizing it for is to make it very much peer-to-peer event and event host to actual participant attendee. That's more peer-to-peer transaction, mitigate those costs. So I like the idea of this a lot. Yes.
They claim no fake tickets, no bots, and fair prices, right? So they have this nice claim of what they're trying to actually accomplish. And to your point, they're looking to kind of eliminate the middleman, but specifically I think bots and scalpers is who they're trying to kind of pull out of the market. Let's take a first, that's just kind of the use case. That's just kind of like their high level elevator pitch. Let's take a first quick look at the team. When you guys evaluate a team, the first couple people that I always look at are the people in charge, right? The founders or CEO, COO. So the CEO, his name is Shiv. When I first looked him up on LinkedIn, I was definitely impressed by his background. He's been pretty involved, across multiple areas of the space. Used to be a partner at Coinverse, but was previously a CEO of another startup called Ability Wearables, and worked with Time. Good education. The guy's from London Business School. He also has an MBA from a school in, I think it's like the Australian School of Management. So the guy knows what he's doing. But at the end of the day, a lot of these companies that are able to raise money, they do have smart guys who are heading up the company. They have 14 people on their team. They have a handful of advisors. But there was initially when I'm looking at these crypto companies, in order for you to dominate in this space, you do need to have some crypto connects, right? You do need to have exchange connections. You need to have you need to know a lot of the right people. So I was actually really happy to see that their COO is one of the co-founders of Metal. And Metal Pay, for those of you who have followed me for a while, I've been a long-term fan of Metal Pay. His name is Andy Goldstein. He's the previous COO of Metal, like I said. They also, though, have the, I think it was the SVP of Ticketmaster as one of their advisors. Okay. They had operations from Coachella and Super Bowl halftime show, and the co-founder of Metal, which is Marshall Hayner. He's a really well-connected guy in the space as one of their advisors as well. So for me, guys, the team for Block Party is probably their strongest asset. I give their team like a 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. I mean, they don't have Vitalik, right? But this is a pretty stacked team on the front end. What do you guys think?
Agreed.
Absolutely. Go ahead, that was when I first actually pulled up the box today and looking at the team. That was the first thing I looked at. The team, their credentials, the advisory board, and they have what it takes. It looks like they have what it takes. Now it's about executing. So I think that's the most important thing to start us off with a small project like this is, having the core team, and then what they're trying to build and if it's possible. And I really believe, they really do have it in them.
Yeah, just to jump in on that, for me, obviously, when it comes to FA, I want to make sure that whatever is being stated on the website, they're actually working to live up to that, or they, do live up to what they're saying. Immediately, I downloaded the app, checked it out. It looks great. I'm, using an iPhone, so got it from the Apple Store. Overall, just being someone that's worked in party promotions in the past and seeing that they're kind of one of the projects that I used to be very close to was Life in Color, which was America's largest paint party. So they're currently marketing Hyperglow, which is America's largest glow party. So a little bit of connective tissue there. And there were a lot of issues when it came to fake tickets for those events. So I could see how that is applicable in these situations, because when you're talking about college students that are on the go, this just makes things easy and verifiable, because you don't want to get to the gate and then realize that you've spent $300 on a festival ticket that's no good. And now you got to drive back home and go through that whole problem. So I can see that this could be big.
Yeah. So how big is the opportunity in tickets, right? That's the next thing. So I evaluate the team. I'm looking at who's actually supporting it. And listen, just from 24 hours or so of digging in and researching and going through some LinkedIn profiles and reading the white paper, the team is as good as any for the most part. They're certainly not a downfall. So check that off the box. But now we got to look at the opportunity, right? So I don't think there's any doubt that the ticketing industry is massive. I'm personal friends with some higher ups, actually very early, like first employees for Vivid Seats, which is one of the bigger players in the space. But it's not a very fragmented market. It's like I think like a $35 billion a year market, and like 30 billion master, right? So use Ticketmaster, right? Everybody. To dominate in this space and to get market share in this space, Block Party is going to have an absolutely massive challenge to break in, because it's completely owned and dominated by Eventbrite and Ticketmaster and StubHub. And ultimately, over 1/3 of Americans from Statistia.com, which is a website I use, over 1/3 of Americans buy tickets in some capacity, right? So we know the growth, the opportunity is huge. The growth is about 4% year over year. So the growth isn't massive, but again, there's not much room to grow. So many people are already buying tickets. It's a $30+ billion a year industry. So what is Block Party? I mean, how does Block Party stand a chance competing with some of those big guys in the space? Like, what do people need in order to use Block Party as a user? Like, why would you use Block Party instead of StubHub?
That's a good question.
Well, it's only for exclusive events, right? That's it. They're gonna have to get some exclusive events that aren't available anywhere else, and that's gonna have to lead into it, right?
Well, I think ultimately that's a part of it, but Vivid Seats didn't have exclusive events when they started dominating, and Vivid Seats has now gone on to raise millions and millions of dollars, and the founders of that company will do very, very well. It's a very profitable business. So I understand the problem of bots, scalpers, and fraud, and that's what they're trying to solve for, right? Block Party is trying to eliminate bots, scalpers, and fraud. But how big of a problem is that really? Well, estimated about 5 million tickets a year are sold or fraudulent, again, from this same resource. So there's a problem there. It's not personally happened to me. I'd be curious, the guys in the comments, if it's happened to you, buying a fake ticket or something like that. I understand right now the problem is when Ticketmaster puts on an event, they sell 1,000 tickets for $10. Okay. What happens is these bots will come in and buy all 1,000 tickets for $10. Mm-hmm. Then they resell them for $50. They only sell 300 of them, but they still make $5,000, or they still make a $5,000 profit selling way less tickets than they bought because of the markup on them. Now the event doesn't have as many tickets. A consumer has the kind of the opportunity cost, for lack of a better term, for buying a ticket at well above face value. There's obvious downsides in that, but do the consumers care? Is it a big enough problem for people to stop using Vivid Seats and start using Block Party, right? Is there so much pain in that process today? And how often does the average consumer buy tickets? Twice a year?
Yeah. Probably.
Making some very valid points. Absolutely.
Right. So they have to dominate on the marketing front. That's where they're going to have the opportunity to dominate. And where they have, in my opinion, some upside is the crypto niche. I think that they have an opportunity to carve out market share from Ticketmaster's $28 billion a year, just because they're going to hopefully dominate crypto. And all of these crypto fans, imagine if Block Party becomes quite popular, right? Imagine if it becomes imagine how many bag holders there'll be if it becomes a top 100 coin. Those are going to be a lot of fans who are hopefully wanting to use the product. So I've spoken a lot about that, but I'd be curious to know what your guys' thoughts are on the real opportunity for a startup like this to make a dent in that space.
I mean, just to, when I look at something like this and I see that there is the opportunity for them to carve out a little bit of that market through that, that separating factor, that niche market that they could target, really the for my money, what difficult. I see it being something that has an exit, right? I see it being something that as a company, they're going to build a product that they take a little bit of market share, just enough to solicit a buyout from one of their bigger competitors.
That's what I was thinking too. I totally expect that their exit plan in the next 3 years is probably an acquisition from Eventbrite, StubHub, Ticketmaster, one of the large players in the space. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. So listen, just because I'm kind of cracking down a little bit on the fact that at the end of the day, this, as great as this team is and as pretty as everything is and as sexy as this offering looks, from a fundamental standpoint as a startup, if I was a seed investor, I'd probably be pretty hesitant to invest. Now, again, that's to get an equity payout. I think they're going to struggle getting a lot of users. I think they're going to struggle to gain market share in the short term. That doesn't mean this isn't a good token investment. We'll get into that, whether or not it still makes sense. But what's there to finalize before we end on Block Party? The token utility, right? So right now, the token utility is rewards for the most part. One of the things about Block Party, backed by Perkins Coie, which is a well-known law firm. They didn't really do any marketing or do much of anything until they actually not only finalized the product, but they actually sold their first tickets via an exclusive event, to your point, Broski. So they have actual utility. They have actually sold tickets for an event and managed that process through the Block Party protocol. And that's a very, very important step one for any startup. So I would just stress to the folks out there who are big fans of Block Party to understand that building this particular, they have a shot. They have a shot at getting market share, especially if they get popular in crypto and they get some really good marketing. But this is not going to be something where all of a sudden they're going to take over ticket. Like, don't fool yourself by going on Reddit and saying like, this is the next Ticketmaster. They're going to 100x, like yada, yada. Probably not. They're more likely to get bought by Ticketmaster in the next couple of years. And that's still a really positive thing. But the other half of their token utility outside of rewards, which is basically rewarding people for using the platform, rewarding people for selling tickets and buying tickets on the platform. They also obviously are going to allow you to buy tickets with cryptocurrency, in particular the BOXX token. So what's going to help drive the value of this token price up? Ultimately, if it's not speculative investment, it's going to be use. It's going to be use of the token. And the way Block Party as a business is going to make money is by taking essentially a fee on those tickets, no different than the market that exists today. But it looks to be a smaller fee. It looks to be like a more reasonable fee on these tickets. And then as a final point, before I forget, I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot about these guys, but as a final point on the token utility, they have a mechanism within the smart contract that prevents it prevents people from upselling the tickets more than 10% per sale. So it stops someone from coming out and completely gouging the ticket prices. The problem is that's not advantageous for scalpers, and that's not advantageous for even so much for event planners. They want to hit their numbers and sell as many tickets as possible. But it is advantageous for the consumer. So there's going to be a little bit of an education curve there, and there's going to be there's going to have to be a lot of really good marketing to get the use on the platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think that everything you're saying, like they're obviously approaching this project and this company. I think they're doing a great job, and they're incentivizing token holders. And at one point, no public sale either. No public sale. Yeah, there you go. So
they've done everything right.
Yeah, they're they're grassroots for sure. And so one takeaway that I had that I thought was interesting that you mentioned is maybe Block Party goes on to be the next Eventbrite or StubHub, right? That would be awesome, and I'm sure that's what they're striving for. One thing that is really interesting that you said, though, and I never thought about this, but we got to consider that all these blockchain companies that are starting and trying to be the blockchain version of modern companies that we're hearing, maybe they don't get market integration like they're looking for, but the system they set up, they do get bought out by bigger, already established real-world companies. Let's say Eventbrite takes on, the Block Party blockchain, right? What happens then? Hypothetically, what I see happening is if Eventbrite or Ticketmaster or StubHub acquires a blockchain company, then my guess is that they're also going to use the token system. They're going to incorporate that within their own business model, and there will probably be a token swap for Block Party coins to Eventbrite coins. And if you told me right now today that I could buy a bunch of Block Party crypto and then one day that's swapped for a StubHub coin, like I'm thinking that I just hit the lottery. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, I don't know if that's going to happen. That's all hypothetical, but I wouldn't be. I like the idea of it. It makes me. I'm going to approach cryptos in a different way, because if they have the ability to be bought out one day by a real recognized, large market company, then I'm like, well, if they're going to utilize blockchain protocol, then they're probably going to utilize a token system as well. There's profitability there too for token holders. So.
Yeah, you guys know I'm not generally a big fan of DApps, just on the high level. I do put Block Party in the DApp space. I kind of assume that I think of it as a DApp, but this is one that I actually like. And with that being said, I think we've talked enough about Block Party. Again, love the team. I know the problem they're trying to solve, and I know that problem exists. I do question how important solving that problem is to the people they're going to need to really support the platform, which is really the people who are selling tickets for concerts and all of those exclusive things. But now let's just look, before we move on to Unibright and then Turtle Coin, which I know a lot of people are excited about. Before we do that, following or BOXX, is this a moon or rect? I mean, is this a coin that you want to take positions in? We'll just go around the circle.
I can go ahead. I'll show you guys.
Pull up a chart real quick? It's pretty simple,
I'm going to pull up a chart real quick. Yeah, it's fairly simple. Give me a second here. Sorry about that. Tell me when I'm live. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, man.
All right, cool. Yep. Wonderful. All right. I'd be a buyer of Block Party. Right now, here, let's zoom out a little bit on a weekly. I know you don't get too much history over here. It's very, very slim, about 5 weeks. But one important order block that I signified here with this block, if you dig in a little further here, it's around EQ. So I want to show you. Here's a 3-day. So from a 3-day perspective, it looks fairly good. And then we'll jump into 1 day. This is more significant here. So one order block, this bearish order block that I have here, we dipped into, but we're still hanging around, ranging in the weekly order block, as you can see. We're just hovering just below the full range EQ, just by this dotted line, if you see that.
Don, for those that are tuning in on the podcast, can you read out the numbers there?
Oh yeah, sorry about that. So my range EQ, I don't have it listed right now. Give me 1 second.
And what's that, 3,000 sat?
Yeah, just about 3,000 sats right there. So yeah, right now we have a little pullback on the lower time frame. High time frame looks good for pretty big uptick back up to range high at 3350. So here I'd be a buyer. I'd probably set some orders. As you can see, we dipped into the daily order block and we had a strong move up. So then again, if you see this 4-hour, here's a 4-hour order block. We dipped in again. I would be a buyer here. I would set some orders here. Look, we're dipping into this new 4-hour order block. And then if we zoom out a little bit further, it looks just the same. So certainly I'd be a buyer here. I'd take it back to range high. And I think it's probably about
that's kind of also that's kind of a trade. That's kind of a trade look as well. For me personally, I don't love this as a trade. I'm looking to be a buyer here as well. Full disclosure, I don't own any BOXX right now. I am going to be buying it, but here's primarily why. $500,000 in daily volume on a $4 million. market makers are not, and I don't want that to have a negative connotation. They're almost certainly using market makers, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not illegal. It's not just for everyone who's out there who doesn't understand how the market actually works. But there's plenty of volume, so there's plenty of liquidity. It's only on Bittrex and Upbit, and with the team that they have, and I know they did they only raise money privately. I know that they're pretty well funded. I fully expect to see this token get listed on some other high volume exchanges in the coming months. At this market cap and with this team and kind of the pizzazz, the sexiness of the way that they're selling Block Party, as much as I am hesitant to really jump into a startup that's trying to compete in this particular space, if there's one I'm going to pick, it's going to be crypto because that's my life, and it's probably going to be Block Party. So I actually I am actually going to follow Block Party, not fade. I'm actually going to start looking at accumulating some here and hope that in 2019 it becomes, one of those positions that performs well for me.
Right there with you, bro. Right there with you. Exactly. Ditto everything that you say. I'm following this one as well. It's one that I think has some long-term potential. I'll look to initially, and I hate putting time frames on things, but right now it's at around 2,900 sats. So as I'm looking in, I'll look to take, start to take profits at about at a 2x and then see where it goes from there. This is one that
I love this team, man. I love this team, and what they're building is sexy, and it's a huge freaking ask, but they're fairly well funded. Man, if they can get somewhat famous in the crypto space, they'll have enough of a usership to be worth a buyout in the next couple of years. So I'm not a big fan on like the ticket sale business, but I like what they're trying to do.
There's plenty of crypto conferences that should target that market.
Let's jump into Unibright.
So moving on, Unibright is the next project. Ticker's UBT. Passing over to you, Kyle. Get things going.
Yeah, so let's get into Unibright a little bit. Before we jump into token metrics, Unibright is the unified framework for blockchain business integration. What does that mean? Unlike Block Party.
What are the token economics first? Sorry, what are the token economics?
All right, I was just gonna go sentence there, but yeah, 1 second. So yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, you're good. So what I was gonna say was basically like what Unibright does is they bring blockchain to businesses that don't have blockchain. But to the token economics, so the market cap is 4.1 billion currently. It's getting about 270K in 24-hour volume. It's priced right around 3 cents, and it's available currently on Hotbit and BOXX exchange and IDEX exchange. So very, it's really illiquid. Honestly, it'd be a pretty hard coin to accumulate. But those are the exchanges on currently, and that's kind of what you dabble with when you are dealing with these coins that are this small. So let's get. Is there any other token metrics that we need to cover here at this point? No, we're good. All right. Cool. So yeah, we'll just hop right into Unibright, give you guys a little background on what the project is all about. So like I said, their framework for blockchain-based business integration. So unlike DApps or coins that are based off of their mining principles or something like that, what this company has done is collected a team of software developers, back-end protocol developers, and just a general group of software blockchain engineers that their whole goal was to build a framework so that businesses and companies that are operating in traditional spaces that see the benefits of blockchain technology can actually use Unibright and use their matching system so that they can create a visually constructed protocol that they don't have to know how to code blockchain or use blockchain, but they can essentially use the Unibright framework to say, this is what we want to apply to our business. And then by using that framework, the code and the back end blockchain, Unibright will be able to shuffle in automatically because they've already created a matching system. So essentially,
it's kind of like a WYSIWYG, like a what you see is what you get, like drag and drop framework. It allows you to automate these smart contract executions. It's very well branded, but it's not sexy at all. Like this business is not sexy at all. What other opinions do you have on it?
Yeah, well, I like the idea, right? Because what I think they're trying to do is, like we just had with Block Party, which I would follow that one too. I think it's a good crypto, and I like the idea of it. And yeah, but what they're trying to do more so here is they're not trying to start a new DApp or disrupt an industry. They're trying to connect the industries. You know, they're trying to bring blockchain and make it usable by business owners that don't understand how to code or what the technology really does. So what I love about it is they're a team of developers with 20 plus years of experience in business integration. So they've been doing this before blockchain even existed. Their whole lives have been spent actually connecting companies with new technologies that they have never actually participated or used before. So I think it's important to dive into the team real quick. They're headed up by Martin Jung. He's the CEO of Unibright, and he has 20 plus years in business integration, dating back to even the dawn of the internet. He's helped companies integrate all sorts of technology all throughout his career. Their CTO is Stefan Schmidt. He's got the same last name as me, so I automatically trust this guy. And so that's not a great reason, but he's got experience in business integration, business modeling, and software architecture. Those are the two guys that are leading up this team. And I have faith in their history and their past performance. And also I just kind of like the idea, we hear about so many projects in this space and all these industries, they're trying to disrupt it, as I repeat, but what they're really doing is they've created a framework so that, let's say Target, for example, wanted to bring in blockchain to better track the goods that come in and out of their store and make sure that all the stuff that they have for sale is real and nothing is fake. They wanted to implement blockchain. They probably have money and capital to go out and build their own team of blockchain engineers. But if they didn't want to do that, or they were a smaller company, they could use Unibright. They'd bring Unibright in and be like, all right, well, using our system, tell us what you're looking for in order to improve your processes. And Unibright's matching protocol would actually implement the blockchain technology where it needed to go. So the target wouldn't have to understand the technology. They could just utilize it. And that is what I think is a huge gap in this space currently, is we have all these blockchain systems, but no one really knows how to use them yet. The companies that are going to be successful in the space are the ones that people use it because it's convenient and they don't have to understand it. So that is,
I totally agree. I think that, so it's a SaaS business, and I love SaaS business. That's my whole whole life is building these non-sexy businesses. I mean, don't get me wrong, Grubhub was sexy, but like really what I get into, this is not sexy. And what I mean by that is, like, it's not very marketable to your average retail investor in the crypto space. They don't really care too much about implementing smart contract automation on blah, 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 right? They're looking for speculative coin value. So this is it's a subscription-based model. So in order for the token to have real utility outside of speculative value, which again, we'll get into, it might not have real utility now. It doesn't mean it won't pump or make you some money. Unibright is going to need to get clients, right? And they're competing in a space and they're trying to get the same clients that Dragon Chain, Sophia TX, a couple that we've talked about, Simple Token. These are companies that these are companies that are already trying to solve problems on the B2B side, and this is another one that kind of fits in. And those are projects and companies that I really like. They're trying to solve unique problems. And to someone's point in the chat, the tech doesn't have to be sexy. I prefer the tech not to be sexy at all, but it still has to sell, right? Like, we were successful, in the startup world and with Grubhub because we sold better than everyone else and we were branded better than everyone else. So that is very, very, very important for a B2B business like Unibright. What are your thoughts on it, Whit?
So, from a business perspective, I'm with you. Being a sales guy my entire life, software as a sale or as a service is a great application for any business. If you start a new business in the United States today, you get bombarded by calls from people that are trying to sell you different services. I can see blockchain as a service, BaaS, coming into its own as that eventually will fill call centers. You'll have companies that are operating like Unibright that are filling call centers that are hitting new business owners, helping them get their product or service on the blockchain as they're getting started. It'll just be a normal, in the course of doing business is how I see things going. So I can see what they see as far as the longevity of their business and how it could be implemented on a larger scale. I love the fact that they have done work in the past with major corporations, and chances are they started Unibright. I mean, they didn't need to start Unibright, right? They were a solvent company that was making good money, I would assume, prior to tokenizing. So if that's the case, then they could have only started this out of a need, right? Because an existing entrepreneur is not going to look to start a business if there's no need present. You're not just looking for busy work. So being that they've got clients like Lufthansa and Shell and Samsung and Unilever, these are some of the largest corporations on planet Earth. So chances are they were hearing about a need, thought that they could service that need, and here we are. So I have a feeling that there is a lot going on behind the scenes at Unibright that they're not announcing yet. But I mean, from an FA play, I think that this is a solid project with a good potential future here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Also, like if you asked me for 4 or 5 months ago, so they started trading back in March or April. They had an ICO, so they raised about $12 million in their ICO, and they're currently valued a little over $4 million. So if you asked a lot of people, I remember hearing a little bit about it back then. People were like, "Oh, well, it's not going to come below ICO price," and obviously market cycles and things take effect. I probably wouldn't have been interested in buying it at that time, anyways. Beyond market cycle, because they didn't have a product. Now they do. Right. So I was really hoping that one of these 3 coins I was going to hate. Right. I was really hoping I was going to be able to tear one apart. And hopefully we'll have that opportunity. But with Unibright, they got to the point in the last quarter where they actually have a working demo of their product and they have a whole walkthrough. And guys, it's pretty slick, man. As someone who does web development, I've built many websites in my time. I've done many wireframes in my time. I've used many services in this space. It's a really, really neat product. Now they have to sell it, right? So as long as they can sell it and they can crack into a pretty fragmented market, then that token will have underlying utility. And that'll be a really, really great long-term hold. Outside of that, let's talk about short-term. I mean, even though it's going to take them some time to crack into the small business space and really have real token utility by selling this service, I think it's going to take them several years to really build that up. Is this a coin that you like at $4 million? Follower
for me, it's a fade. Not that it's not great, and at $4 million, it's fantastic. I just think that, right now picking up a bag of UBT means that you're going to carry a big opportunity cost at other plays you could make. I don't see this being something that catches a massive pump. I see this being slow and steady growth over the course of years. And frankly speaking, that's just not my trading strategy right now. I mean, I've got a long bag of things that I'm looking to accumulate over time. UBT doesn't really fit the criteria for those. So it would have to just be a shitcoin flip. And I don't see it being a flip. It may 2, 3, 4X in the next month, and I could end up with my foot in my mouth. But a play like this, I'll sit on the sidelines and see what happens.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Unibright in particular is it's a really fundamentally well-built company. Like, I think these guys are really, really solid. I would love to take an equity play in them.
Yeah, for
What's
sure.
your thoughts, Don?
Yeah, just short term, like you were saying, short term. I mean, in the past 3 weeks, it's already ran up 140%. So you obviously see some significant upside. So how long is this going to last? Short term, I wouldn't be a buyer here. From an investor's perspective, probably wouldn't be a buyer either. I would wait for some lower prices to have some better risk reward there.
Yeah, I'm on the other side. I'm going to follow these guys too. I'm not going to fade them. I like them at $4 million. So I'm going to start looking at the problem I have right now is liquidity. So me personally, it's probably going to take me some time to buy, and I may not even be able to get my hands on any until they come to an exchange that I'm a little bit more comfortable using. So that is an unfortunate part of trying to take positions in this. But I'm going to follow Unibright, UBT. So shout out to you guys who shielded to me. I at $4 million sub ICO price up until 12 million, I'll probably be down to buy some. I just got to find a better way to do it.
Certainly, I think if it went on like a Q coin, much better exchange. I'm not a big fan of the exchanges it's listed on, IDEX, Cryptopia, Liquid. Not a big fan of those at all. So as soon as it hit a bigger exchange, Q coin being one, I'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm going to follow UBT too. I really like BAS as a business model, and I think that I don't know about short term, like we've all kind of reiterated here, but I think that long term, this is something that I want to have on my radar, because I think in the blockchain integration sector, in comparison to Dragon Chain and Sophia TX, the partnerships that they already have in line, being Unibright, it just makes me confident in them long term. So
cool. Well, good job, Unibright. You guys built a company that seems to have done everything right up there with Block Party. It's not that sexy, but that doesn't necessarily matter. And a couple of us are going to follow. Some are going to fade. Let's hop on to the man of the hour.
Boom, boom. So
Who here wants to hear about Turtle?
Been waiting for Turtle Coin. So Turtle Coin is a completely community-driven project. I am, and have been a huge fan of projects like these. We actually covered Turtle Coin in another Bitcoin Bravado show, Miners Oasis, which you can catch here on the YouTube channel Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But Turtle Coin is a project that was put on my radar by the community, and in digging into it, it's simply put a fun, fast, and easy way to send money to friends and businesses. So this is a fork of Bytecoin. It's something that is, the devs are some of the most active that you will ever see. And as you can tell by looking at the chat right now, the community is behind this project. They've got a big community that they have been building organically.
Isn't their Discord, like, how big is their Discord?
Over 15,000 people.
15,000 people.
Really?
And
wow.
And when I say it's popping, it is like you put a comment and you look away and look back, and your comment is 15 page scrolls up. So they are.
Wow,
that's wild.
It's an active community, but the thing is it's fun, right? Cryptocurrency wasn't designed as some stuffy business, right? Bitcoin was for the cypherpunks. It was for the devs. It was for the people who wanted to get back at the man or throw a little shade at this or have a little fun with that. Their website is turtlecoin.lol, right? and when you get on there, a lot of people will say it doesn't look professional. And first of all, I personally think the layout is great. I think that the graphics are good. I think that the information is solid.
Their UI is actually not bad for the type of project that this is. No. It's not as unsexy as it could be. It's not Craigslist, you know.
Well, and you got to think of who is their target, right? Who are you looking to market to? And in reality, this is a site for people who are looking to mine a coin that they can use. This is a coin that is used to pay and to tip, and there is, the wallet. I'm excited to dig a little bit more into it today. But from what I can see so far, everything has been very clean. And the people that I respect that are miners that look at this as a spec play, no, right now it's not incredibly profitable. But long term, will it be? I see this being a huge play. Right now, as far as the token economics go, you've got a $2.3 million market cap, only $16,000 of daily trading volume. But again,
that's only $1 per person in their Discord. What are we doing, guys?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that I think most people have to understand when it comes to a mineable project that people are just starting to pay attention to. The daily volume isn't going to be that great because people are mining it, right? And the people that are mining it, they're not dumping it on the market. You've got 1 trillion max supply for this project, 26 billion circulating currently. And
we're probably off on the volume too, because we're just looking at the coin market.
Correct.
Just one trading pair. Correct. So there's alternate trading pairs. I'm sure it's more than that. I'm just kind of making a joke there. But to your point,
go ahead.
To your point, it's a mining play, right? And so if I'm not a miner, though, what the hell is Turtle Coin? I know, but tell the people, what the hell is Turtle Coin? Why do I want it from you? Just from you? So it's a cryptocurrency.
It is a cryptocurrency. Now you have privacy. You have privacy components to it. It is also an ASIC resistant algorithm for the mining. So you've got the ability for it to stay decentralized over time. It's not going to go ASIC and end up with Bitmain holding all of it. From a trading perspective, right, which is how I look at things, it is one of those plays where it's a kryptonite algo. So you've got the ability to look at other kryptonite algos that have done well, like a Loki, right?
Very well known, very successful. Yep. Successful. Some guy said he mined 600,000 turtle using a standard desktop. So that's exciting. I'm going to download the GUI wallet myself to play around with it. But I like Turtle Coin. After first of all, what the hell is Turtle Coin? As involved as I am in this space, I can't possibly be looking at every spec play, $2 million market caps and things like that. But I like it because when you go through their website, they're very irreverent with the way that they share information. They have a very irreverent sense of humor, tastefully irreverent, I would say. They're tastefully irreverent, but basically by saying listen, we don't have a pre-mine or ICO or any of that garbage. We didn't start this to make a ton of money. We didn't want to do it. We started this because of the problem with the ICO craze in December, and we're going to just build a cool ass product. And if it's cool and if it works and if it has value, then it'll have value. And I think what we've seen is doesn't matter what I think personally. I'm not a miner, right? I'm not a miner. I'm a business guy. I'm a startup guy, and I'm a trader and investor. I'm not a miner. I'm not a cryptographer. I'm not a it's not really my space. But they obviously did their job because they started this coin in December in the hype phase. And over the course of the bear market, they have 15,000 people in their Discord. They have tons of people building on top of the protocol. Their GitHub is extraordinarily active. They've got damn near 100 people in the chat right now blowing us up about Turtle Coin. So obviously they didn't have to do a pre-mine, an ICO, a marketing ploy, all this bullshit in order to actually kind of get back to basics. And I just got excited about Turtle Coin talking about it because you know what? This is back to basics, guys. This is just like old day. This is Dogecoin. Let's do it. Let's get hype on Turtle. I'm down. Let's go.
Yeah, about it too.
Well, listen, so
and people have been forking. I was listening to her interview too. A ton of people forked Turtle because they didn't know how to use it, and so then they forked their own version and they're building on top of that. So it's just this whole community play, and I like it.
Well, so, and here's the thing with community plays right now, right? We're moving into an era of transparency in cryptocurrency where you've got people that are talking about it online. You've got Binance making announcements of how they're going to be more transparent with listing fees and all of those things. So what you're going to see community-driven projects like this get love. They're going to get listed on more exchanges. Because look at this. If you just think of we are reviewing Turtle, right? And we are getting people that are coming to this show just to hear the review. Imagine what happens when Turtle gets listed on a top tier exchange. Where do you think these people are going to go to trade it? They're going to move to an exchange with better liquidity. You're going to see these exchanges that want to bring those communities on board and get them trading on their exchanges. So I think that a project like Turtle, from my perspective, is a solid play, even though right now you can only pick it up if you're not mining it on Trade Ogre.
I mean, as an investor, I think it's a no-brainer. Just the SAT value alone, guys. I mean, we've seen this movie before. We've been doing this for a while now. It makes sense. Like the coin's it's done like 3x, 4x in the last 2 weeks or something. I wouldn't necessarily look to take positions now. I need a little bit more liquidity. So I actually may from our fund, I may just start mining it just because I think that's probably the play here for anyone listening. If you want more information on mining, obviously tune into Miners Oasis, as we said. If this is probably a good intro to the mining space.
Yeah. One thing I want to say, because there was a comment on, why would I invest in a coin with such low liquidity, right? So it's important to understand that a play like this is a spec play without a time frame. Right. So you're saying I'm going to accumulate this, assuming it'll go to zero. Anything above zero is a bonus, and I'm doing that because I believe that there's viability to the project. Right. Yeah. So just
is this going to be the cryptocurrency that goes mainstream? Right. Because Bitcoin's pretty popular, and people still don't use that to pay for things. So are people going to be buying things with Turtle in the near future? Probably not. But can something bigger come out of all the development effort that's going into it? I think so. So I don't that Turtle today is what Turtle in a year will be if it still exists, right? I don't know I don't know there's a lot of future in trying to be this ad hoc cryptocurrency, but I love what they're trying to do from a spec mining play. It makes sense. If you want to throw a couple grand at a shit coin, so to speak, and hope to catch one of those runs, as just a crypto enthusiast, it's not a bad play. But right now you'd have trouble even buying it. So I'm interested. I just like what they're trying. I just like their attitude about it, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, I think so too. I kind of had I liked everything I was seeing and everything that you guys have said. I don't want to reverberate, but I was like, why the hell is it called Turtle Coin? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, what's the point of calling it Turtle Coin? But I was looking through their website and I found this quote, and they have it on their story aspect of the website. It's, a wise rat once said, a turtle only moves forward by sticking its neck out. And I thought about that for a second, and I think it totally fits because, what they're doing is they could have chose the route of every single other blockchain company in this space and done an ICO and raised $15 million and like, okay, what are we going to do with all this capital? But they're like, no, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to develop a product that works and people like and enjoy and is easy. And then we're going to see if people actually respect us instead of just giving themselves 4 years of runway and like, all right, well, we raised all this money on nothing. So it's like, the Turtle Coin's still kind of weird. I don't know if I'm ever going to be buying a hamburger in Turtle Coin, but I understand their focus. I do. It's cool.
Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, son.
Yeah. If Turtle would have popped up in 2015 or something, if Turtle would have popped up, back in it'd probably have a $50 million market cap and no one would know why. So again, I like it as a speculative play. Someone in the chat is making a good point. when new money steps in, they're going to be buying Coinbase and Binance coins and not some shit coin called Turtle, yada, yada. I don't disagree. But as a part of, as an investor and enthusiast in this space, I have a place for everything. I have plenty of exposure to Coinbase and Binance coins and mainstream. I have plenty of exposure to true utility and yada, yada, yada. Maybe I want some exposure to a spec mining op like Turtle that's just being built by people who seem to have really good heads on their shoulder, who seem to really care about the project. And like I said, I think you can expect to see Turtle evolve into something more than it is today. And from a branding perspective, I don't care if it's called Turtle, because there's fucking multi-million-dollar startups in the valley right now called Apple and called Purple and and called Google. So like I don't care about the name so much, but I'm excited to learn a little bit more from a miner's perspective. I think I can see the value there. Otherwise, I gotta wait until there's more liquidity. But because it's such a low sat coin, I might dabble.
Well, for me, taking consideration, I'm no miner, and taking consideration that I haven't taken a look at their Discord. I don't know what their community looks like, but it sounds great. I think a lot of coins do drive off their community to get on bigger exchanges. So I'd like to see where they go with that. But for me, taking a first glance at their website, there's I personally think there's a lack of profession in it. There's a lot of if you just look at their story and read it from a professional perspective, like
Reddit,
some of that should not be there. Like, no damn project. If we make a cool product, well, I need some reassurance as an investor. Are you going to make the product? Is this going to happen? I don't know. And then going back to turtlecoin.lol, personally, I think it's garbage just by looking at the website and looking at, what they have written on their front frame. So for me, I'm not an investor. I will definitely take a deep dive into their Discord and read up more on it. And maybe that might change my perspective. But for now, I'll sit sidelined. And if it takes off without me, I'm happily to sit sidelined and let it go.
Donnie with the fade.
I'm a strong Turtle fade. I'm a fade from an investment standpoint just because of liquidity, and it's just too small right now. And that's fine and that's fair. And no one out here should be. No one else should be totally crushing Don because, how can one talk about investing without looking into the tech? The reality is the people that that you want to eventually buy your coin so it does increase in value, which I know is everyone's goal, no matter how much you love the tech. The idea is that the coin increase in value. 95% of the people buying that, Warren Buffett himself is not going to understand the tech. So you do have to find a way to market it and make your product something that can be understood by laymen who don't give a shit about the blockchain tech. I care a little bit more about tech. I know Whitney cares a little bit more about tech. These other two guys are a little bit more trade, finance, business, whatever. So you're not going to appease to everybody, but I personally, I think that they have a lot of the right ideas. It's a highly speculative play. I think you have to understand that. I think it's the higher risk of the three coins we talked about, but just with the community hype alone, if they can get any exchange with liquidity, I'm going to want a bag of Turtle. So I'm going to follow.
Definitely think they need to focus on that. Definitely need to focus on
you got to educate. You got to educate.
Definitely.
One sat for a 2x. What?
Well, with a community size that large, for a 15,000
reward than that.
Yeah, but that's not.
It doesn't get better.
That one stat. That's just because, that's not because, the money flow is still same.
I know. It's just my immaturity coming out. But yeah, dude.
I do want to take a moment though to real quick thank you. Oh, we got some feedback. Kyle's headphones. All right, sorry. His headphones always die mid-show, and then we get that feedback. I do want to take a quick moment, though, just to give a shout-out to everyone who hopped in. We can only cover so much in 45 to 50 minutes for any individual coin. Really, we could spend an entire show talking about Turtle, Block Party, or Unibright. But hopefully what we were able to kind of dig out is at least a good start for you guys to DYOR. Obviously, though, all four of us are in the Bravado Discord. So if you want to talk about these more, please come and join. I think I'm going to become a member of the Turtle Discord just to see what all the hype is about, guys. How do you get 15? Let's go.
Before we wrap it, just swing it back over to me. What do you guys think? But
okay, go ahead, Kyle.
All right, absolutely. So I want to address Zalmoxis real quick. He's a member of our Discord, and he actually wrote one thing in Discord earlier today, and then followed up with a question in the comments on Crowdcast. So I want to address you real quick, Zalmoxis. So your question was, initially he was asking, what is our crypto to fiat exposure, aggregate kind of from Bitcoin Bravado as a total? And that's a good question, because, you know, we're a lot of traders, but we talk every day and we figure out how much crypto have in comparison to fiat and stuff like that. I think what we found in our discussions is that about right now we have about 70% crypto exposure and 30% fiat at these levels. Okay. And he countered back with the question. He said, well, you know, doesn't that seem a little like a lot of exposure, seeing as how we're waiting for a breakout above 6,800? And I agree with him that we are heavily exposed right now to crypto. And I told him that the remaining 30% fiat we have, we would look to expose ourselves even further if 6,800 is bested. But the argument that he posed in a sense that, well, why do you have so much crypto exposure at these levels? Because frankly, if you've bought at 6K all year, which we have, you've been profitable. Okay. Now we haven't reached max profitability, but we've continually bought at 2018 support and it has worked out. So for us, there's a bunch of crowd noise and BAC's coming up here and, or, you know, there's no volume, or, you know, you're seeing indicators show you certain things. It's like, listen, if you've bought at 6K in 2018, you've made money. I'm talking alts, talking BTC, everything and the like. So that's our hypothesis right now, you know, and I think that things are lined up really well right now to see a bounce in the markets as BACT approaches and their futures trading starts in early December. So I just want to, you know, pass it around to you guys real quick. That was his first question. There's another question too, but if you guys have anything to say on that first part, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, fair question. We've always made a habit since back in 2017 of discussing our fiat exposure versus crypto. And obviously, because we do manage a large fund as well at, you know, here in Chicago, we're always thinking about risk management and things at a little bit of a higher level than your average layman. You know, me personally, I'm actually closer to 20% fiat. I've spent a little bit more fiat. I was like 50-50 up until about a month or so ago, 6 weeks ago. So it's not a fine science. No one listening is going to be playing our exact game. They're not going to be as active as us in all cases. They're not going to be playing with the same amount of money or risk or what have you. So you always have to make your own decisions. But there's a lot of talk about waiting on confirmation, right? If you waited on confirmation in December of 2017, you woke up one morning and you missed 200%. Then you're waiting for a dip and you missed the entire bull run, which happened over the course of about 3.5 weeks, and then it was over. So a big part of being successful as a trader, a little bit different than a hodler, you know, an investor, is not waiting on confirmation. It's predicting the confirmation, right? It's predicting the breakout. And so we've been predicting upside for the last 8 weeks or so, really since like mid-August. We've been pretty bullish. We've kind of changed our stance. We're not ready to spend all of our money yet. We still want to have fiat on board if we have a dump to 4K, and that'll be true until we're back above 7K on Bitcoin. But I think that's just some grain of salt that you have to take.
Mm-hmm. And go ahead, Donnie. Sorry.
No, you're good. You guys said exactly what I was going to say. Very well said. Sorry.
Okay. And then his second question was regarding BTC's dominance, seeing bearish divergences forming on BTC. And then alts showing confluence with this chart. A lot of them are sitting at major support zones. And then we're seeing liquid alts pumping like XRP and Bitcoin Cash. And so his second question revolved around, well, do you see positive price action flowing into the BACT arrival in late November, early December, which I thought was kind of funny because you were giving me grief earlier for how much crypto exposure we had, but then you're seeing the same things we are. So, you know, in response to that, I think that BTC dominance for me has not been something that I've always been in tuned. It's not a high value indicator, at least in my trading style. But yeah, I think you're seeing the same things we are. Alts are at support. They've found support. They've continually tested it. And it just is in line with our theory and the hypothesis we're forming every day as this consolidation occurs, that we're going to see a bounce. And so we like the risk reward here. It's not that we're certain it's going to go up. It's that the risk reward here has been here all 2018, and it's here again with even big FA behind it too. So we like the spot.
That's well said. And we appreciate the questions, Almoxis, and keep those coming. For everyone who's listening to the stream or eventually the podcast for the first time, especially for you Turtle fanboys and Block Party and Unibright, we're so grateful that you guys came to show your support and ask your questions and support your coins. Typically, we don't spend an entire show talking about altcoins. We're usually covering in detail hot news, market analysis, Bitcoin, altcoin analysis. This is something we do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11:30 a.m. Central. So please, if you enjoyed this show at all, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and give us your feedback. Leave a review on iTunes. That would be really helpful as well. So just so you guys know, this isn't what we always talk about, but I think Broski, I think that we've definitely decided we're going to be doing this a lot more on Fridays, especially where we're going to jump in. Maybe we'll do one or two next time so we can spend a little bit more time on each coin. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you come back for more, because this is what we do. We have a large team. We have over 15 of us, and we're going to continue to bring value. And next week we have a special guest, and we'll let you know who it is on Monday. Very special guest, big time.
And on that cliffhanger, in traditional form, we're going to go ahead and call it for the week. Guys, thanks for tuning in for this week's shows. We will see you again Monday at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Grateful for you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Yeah.